What to do, YouTube? We are back with a reaction video of the Nexus. This is what was this one? Batman versus Freddy Krueger. My buddy told me about these, so let's jump right into it.
He's not even making a sound up there.
I don't care what he is. If he can help us, let him.
Silence. This deep always has a price. Here, it's paid while they sleep. Most crimes break doors. This one breaks principles. Broken lock, no forced entry. She died in her sleep, with a perfect wound and no trace of a blade.
We found no metal, no carbon, no known alloy. It's like the weapon never existed.
When the tool doesn't belong to this world, the crime stops being physical. It becomes ontological.
Same pattern, sir. All asleep. No weapon. No trace. They call it a vengeful spirit in the local reports.
Spirits don't leave patterns. People do. Or something that learned from them.
Some would say this is beyond your field. The supernatural, dreams, demons.
There is no beyond my field. If it kills, it follows rules. I just haven't mapped them yet. Filter all victims by sleep cycle, childhood fears, and exposure to the same story.
All of them heard about him before they...
Now, just imagine this being an actual comic book series. This would be dope. This would be real dope, man. I'd definitely read it.
died. All of them were terrified of the...
Look at that man's face. Bats gonna get him, though. Bats gonna get him, though.
idea. That's the principle. Not a demon. A construct. A thought given teeth.
He's a parasite of belief. The more they fear him, the more real he becomes.
If his existence depends on fear, then the contingency is simple. Break the belief.
They're not just tired. They're improvising a war they don't even understand.
If you fall asleep, he gets you. Just don't sleep. Ever.
His power doesn't start in their dreams. It starts in the stories they trade to stay awake. Belief is the battery. Fear is the voltage. Drain both. And the monster starves. He kills where no lock, no alarm, no barricade can reach him. Inside their sleep. If his only terrain is the nightmare, then I don't drag him out first. I go in. Protocol Nightmare Zero begins inside his kingdom, not outside of it. Walking into his domain without control means giving him every advantage. I need structure, lucidity, and a way back.
Lucidity Lab is ready, sir. Neural safeguards, cardiac monitors, extraction routines, all on standby.
Finds me. He won't be hunting a victim. He'll be stepping into a pre-planned battlefield. Dreams bend reality. Lucid dreams bend it back. I need to know when I'm no longer awake and refuse to forget it.
Lucidity Serum will block delta waves and keep your awareness online. You'll know you're dreaming the entire time.
Good. If he tries to rewrite the rules, I'll be there to overwrite them. This isn't sleep. It's an incursion. Phase 1. Controlled entry. I let the nightmare find me, but on my terms.
Induction sequence starting. Lucid markers locked. If your heart rate drops below 40, we trigger extraction.
If he tries to turn this into a hunt, remind him, I set the rules. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to invade. Heart rate steady. Awareness intact. The body is asleep. The mind is crossing over. In his realm, thoughts turn into architecture. I just have to think sharper than he dreams. This is my entry point. A neutral layer. My rules first, his nightmares on top. Come on then. You like hunting in dreams. Find me. He builds mazes from childhood fears. Classrooms, lockers, empty halls. All loaded with panic.
Class is in session, detective. You're late.
Every door is bait. He expects panic, random choices, instinct.
Pick a door, any door. They all end the same.
Nightmare architecture. Heat, noise, no exits. He wants me overwhelmed before the real attack.
You've been here before. You just don't remember how loud you screamed.
He multiplies himself. Quantity over quality, noise over strategy.
How many of me can you bleed tonight, huh?
Fear speeds you up. Discipline slows time down. You're loud. I only need the real you. He tries overload. Too many screams, too much fire. Fear is a flood. I don't drown in floods. I turn them into numbers. He wants chaos, noise, overload. I answer with structure. This is my mind. Freddy's nightmare runs on belief. I strip it down to logic.
Why isn't this changing? I said melt!
Inside this chamber, he's bound to one rule. Physics. No shortcuts, no omnipotence. Feeling limited? Pain is data. If he feels it here, I can drag that version out of the dream. Good. You can be hurt. That's all I needed to confirm. To pull him out, I need one constant. Physical contact. A fixed point in a shifting dream. You're done hunting here. From now on, you move when I say you move.
Rate at 38, engaging the sonic anchor.
Sound is the bridge. The exact frequency of my waking voice ties the dream back to reality.
What did you do? Why can't I change this?
The anchor forces him to focus on one thing he can't control, waking reality.
This is my world. You don't get to drag me out.
You're not a god. You're a pattern. Patterns can be relocated. You're not a god. You're just a killer with a borrowed stage. Phase Gamma reality containment. In here, he's not a myth. He's just another criminal inside a box. Phase Gamma, reality containment. Here, he's not an idea. He's a body inside a box. Get used to the weight. That's gravity. That's pain. That's you. Without magic. What do you know? In dreams, he's omnipotent. Here, he's just another killer with bad habits and a fragile frame.
What is this place? Why can't I bend it?
No dreams. No nightmares. No nightmares. No power source. Simple math.
What? What did you pump in here? I can't feel them anymore.
He's contained, for now. But fear doesn't vanish with steel and gas. It lingers out there.
Physical cells slow the damage. They don't erase the myth. For that, I need a different kind of cage.
Sensitization campaigns, manipulated narratives. This is mass influence on a global scale.
It's a vaccine. They weaponized fear. I'm weaponizing ridicule. You can't fear what you're busy laughing at. First wave, saturation. Turn the nightmare into a cartoon, a meme, a joke.
What the fuck?
The more they laugh, the less room there is for terror. 6 months later, his name doesn't mean fear. It means cheap horror. Old news.
Man, I used to have nightmares about that guy. Now, he's just a Halloween meme.
Just a hollow.
They can't forget me. They're supposed to be afraid. That's the deal.
When the story collapses, the monster doesn't die. It just loses its audience, and then it fades.
No, they can't just forget me. They're supposed to scream when they hear my name.
The true cell isn't steel. It's irrelevance. Once the story dies, the monster has nowhere left to live. Protocol Nightmare Zero is complete, not by force, by social engineering. You don't always beat monsters by hitting them harder. Sometimes you just bankrupt the myth that feeds them. If he ever finds a way back through another story, the chamber moves with him, straight into a mind he can't bend. Nightmare against nightmare. A higher order guardian can finish what I started. Now get out of here. I have work to do.
I've got work to do. Yeah, man, y'all go check out the Nexus guy, man. What else he got? Okay, we're gonna go in for that Jason. We're going for that.
Owned.tv is the largest streamer shop worldwide. We offer branding packages with everything.
Alfred, the forest just went quiet. Something's here.
You have visual confirmation.
Negative.
Batman's contingency plan.
Gotham never stays quiet. When it does, it's because something has already started. 3 weeks without homicides, no bank robberies, no Joker, no Riddler, none of the usual spectacles. Alfred brought me a clipping from the Gazette teenage girl missing from a summer camp near Blair County, on the New Jersey border. Young face, smile frozen in a Polaroid. The 8th victim in 17 years. Geographic pattern, always the same lake, always from June to August, always around the new moon. Local cops filed it as drownings. Bodies never found. Witnesses talk of someone on the shore, figure in a mask, movement in the water. Reports dismissed as hysteria. But there's too much consistency. Consistency is data. Data is the entry point. I arrived discreetly, no armor, no cape. I went as Bruce Wayne, scouting the land for a charity project. Abandoned gas station 3 miles from the lake. Broken windows, rusted pump, stench of mildew and rotting wood. Back door forced open. Stains on the concrete rust? No. Preliminary analysis. Degraded hemoglobin, about 6 months old. Drag marks consistent with a 60-kilo body. Ends at the tree line, heading northeast. Toward the lake. Camp closed for 15 years. Fence down, bungalows crumbling. Wrong kind of silence. No birds, no insects. Heavy air, noticeable static electricity. At the center, the boathouse. Rotting wooden structure on pilings, half submerged. Loose planks. Inside, an improvised altar, not religious, personal. Faded photo of a woman holding a child, burned out candle, dead flowers, around it, totems, necklaces left by visitors, handwritten notes. Please don't hurt me. Sorry. I remember you. Fear as an offering. I scraped a wood sample, anomalous organic composition, unknown biofilm, lake water alkaline pH, traces of manganese, but something else. Irregular electromagnetic resonance, peak at 18 hertzes. Infrasound, frequency that induces panic. Natural? Unlikely at that intensity. Back in the Batcave, I cross-referenced the data. 17 cycles, always, after a territory violation, teens breaking in, underground party, nosy visitors, always followed by a disappearance. Surviving witnesses describe a persistent figure. White hockey mask, axe or long blade, impossible underwater movement, resists wounds, doesn't speak, doesn't negotiate, just executes. Paranormal hypothesis dismissed by protocol, but the data forced a review. Jason Voorhees, name tied to the lake since 1957, child with cranial deformity, neglected, drowned while counselors fucked, body never recovered. The mother, Pamela Voorhees, carried out a massacre in 1958 ritual revenge, killed by decapitation. The son reappeared years later. The cycle repeats. Not a ghost, not a zombie in the classic sense. It's a bond. Territory is a closed circuit. Memory is fuel. Fear is reinforcement. Jason is the executor of a ritual. Without a ritualist, he is the ritual. The logic is simple. Fixed stage lake divided by boathouse. Emotional trigger. Maternal memory divided by territorial intrusion. Collective amplifier. Perpetuated local trauma. Each death feeds the legend. Each legend draws new intruders. Each intrusion reactivates the cycle. No need for candles or grimoires. Just repetition. Territory.
So you think you know Wix, but do you really? First up, we've got
Remembrance. Physical containment fails because the anchor remains. Chains snap, cells rot. He returns, always returns. So the protocol has two acts. First, break the supernatural anchor. Second, contain the body. In that order, never the reverse. I mounted the operation in 48 hours. Electromagnetic field mesh around the boathouse Faraday cage, disguised as an environmental repair structure. 12 underwater emitters, frequencies between 12 and 22 hertzes. Counterpoint infrasound, destructive interference in the lake's natural field. Inaudible, but enough to detune the call. Reflection removal. Spectral LED floodlights, positioned to kill shadows in the water. No reflection, no symbolic mirror. Metal surfaces covered with absorbent material.
I'm trying to tell you, man. The man B. Wayne, old Brucey Bruce, it's a smart man right there. That's a smart man. 100%.
Directed silence. Low, amplitude white noise generators, masking organic sounds that reinforce presence. Breathing, movement, heartbeat. Totem neutralization. Remove necklaces, notes, flowers. No dramatic destruction, just removal. Symbols lose power without an audience. The mother's photo was trickier. I digitized it, removed the original, replaced it with a degraded replica. Didn't erase the memory, just weakened the bond. Final component, acoustic inversion. Synthesized modulation based on the original 18 hertzes and projected a mirrored frequency, not magic. Psychoacoustics. Cancellation waves. Engineering against enchantment. Trap set. I entered as Bruce. No cape, no mask. Deliberate bait. He came at dusk. Emerged from the water without a sound, broad shoulders, cracked mask, machete rusted long as my forearm. Slow, inevitable movement. I struck first. Punch to the solar plexus. Forced to shatter ribs. He didn't even budge. Counterattack lateral swing. Blade slicing air. Dodged by inches. Smell of muck and decay. Second hit. Knee to the patella. Human femur can't take 300 kilos of pressure. He stumbled. Didn't fall. Third, elbow to the base of the skull. Lethal technique. He turned his head, slow, like he was sizing me up. Then he clocked me. Impact to the sternum. I flew 3 meters, slammed into a tree. Cracked rib, partially collapsed lung. Blurred vision. He advanced. No rush. Execution. Not a fight. I rolled, triggered the flare. Tactical evac. I survived because he doesn't pursue beyond the territory. Not yet. Returned 72 hours later. As Batman. Data confirmed. Containment without breaking the anchor is useless. Tested expanding polymer foam, the same that immobilizes Bane. Jason tore through it in 90 seconds, snapping the polymers like wet paper. The anchor was still active. The territory still called. So I activated the full protocol. Emitters at max. Faraday field operational. Totems removed. Reflections dead. I waited in the boathouse. Reinforced armor. Non-lethal arsenal prepped. This time, with the anchor weakened. He emerged again. Slower. Uncertain movement. Hesitation the first ever recorded. The mesh was working. He was still solid. Still dangerous. But the bond was vibrating wrong. Off-key. Attacked with surgical precision. Directed explosives on the boathouse pilings. Calculated collapse. The structure crumbled onto him. Wood and metal. Used the chaos. Graphene harpoons. Tungsten cables. Anchors fixed to submerged rock. Not to kill him. To immobilize him long enough. He fought. Monstrous strength. Even weakened. Snapped 2 cables. But this time, I wasn't unarmed Bruce Wayne. I was Batman. Full armor. Tactical arsenal. And Jason doesn't fight like the others. His first strike, impossible speed, machete in a downward arc, blocked with armored forearm impact, rang like an anvil. Counter, hydraulic punch to the sternum. He staggered back, one step. Switched tactics, lateral movement, 3 Muay Thai kicks to the knee. He stumbled, fired steel cable around his neck, electric winch pull. He yanked back, dragging me across the wood before I released. Tungsten net, tore through it in seconds. Electro spurs 50,000 volts. Convulsed, but didn't stop. Blade whistled past my jugular, by inches. But the emitters held the interference. The supernatural link, what makes him invincible, fuels his monstrous strength. His impossible resilience was corrupting, territory failing, memory distorted. The anchor sustaining him bleeding out. He faltered. Critical moment. Activated silver. Veil. 4-meter containment sphere triple wall. Inner layer of total sensory deprivation. No light, no sound, no vibration. Middle cryogenic cooling layer. Outer absolute Faraday shell. Submersible, hermetic, designed to completely isolate the occupant from any external stimulus. With the anchor broken, containment became effective. He went in, I sealed it, sank the sphere to the lake's deepest point, 120 meters, anaerobic muck, total darkness. Not dead, contained, isolated. 3 days later, I extracted the sphere. Transported to a remote facility. Geological underwater pit in the North Atlantic. 3,000 meters deep. Constant temperature.
Music producers, I dare you to find a better deal than this. It's called Output One, and for just $14.99.
2 degrees Celsius. Extreme salinity. Triple Faraday cages. Total absence of reflections, no light, no sound, no echo. Safety redundancies. If the sphere fails, it sinks to the abyssal zone. If he escapes, controlled detonation of the original site, boathouse, camp, territorial landmarks. No stage, no return. I cataloged the rules. Territorial anchor. Jason needs the lake. Without it, he weakens. Memorial trigger. The mother's memory activates him. Breaking totems dilutes the intensity. Collective reinforcement. Fear feeds the cycle. Silence breaks the narrative. Physical limitation. Even weakened, superhuman resilience. Containment requires total sensory deprivation. Persistence. Doesn't die, just hibernates. I didn't kill him. I won't cross that line, not even for this. But I didn't free him. I can't. Future lives depend on it. He's contained. Monitored. Isolated from everything that makes him tick. Not a prison. Ontological quarantine. Gotham went back to its usual noise. Alfred didn't ask about Blair County, just changed the dressing on my ribs and poured tea. The lake stays empty. No legend, no totems, no fear. For now. Some believe monsters can't be stopped, that the supernatural is beyond reason, that ancient forces always win. They're wrong. Doesn't matter if it's magic, ritual, or immortal cycle. Everything runs on rules. Everything has structure. Everything can be understood, dismantled, contained. I've dedicated my life to it, not just Gotham's criminals, but anything that threatens the innocent, human or not, alive or not. If it can kill, I can stop it. I'm not just a detective, not just a vigilante. I'm the preparation the impossible didn't see coming, the contingency for what shouldn't exist, the line between chaos and order, the line I never cross, but defend with everything I've got. Other heroes trust power. I trust method. Jason Voorhees was inevitable, until he wasn't. Because I'm the Batman, and the Batman always has a plan.
Let's go with Michael Myers. Let's see what he does when he goes.
He's headed straight for the trap. Time to move.
Batman's contingency plan.
There are things that even science can't comprehend. I faced gods, demons, and creatures that defy physics, but this being is different. Michael Myers, evil in its purest and most silent form. He doesn't speak, doesn't react, doesn't feel. And maybe that's the true terror. The absolute void behind the mask. I've studied every one of his appearances, every movement. He walks as if time has no effect on his body. No racing heartbeat, no adrenaline rush. It's like he's a walking corpse, sustained only by a force that doesn't belong to this world. I recovered biological fragments left at the crime scenes. His blood. It doesn't behave like human blood. The cells don't die. They regenerate, even outside the body. No toxin, no known biological agent reacts to them. It's something that transcends biology and maybe touches the supernatural. With every analysis, I noticed a constant. The evil in him isn't symbolic. It's organic. Running through his veins like a virus that erases any trace of humanity and replaces it with pure killer instinct. If he's a contagion, then he needs to be treated like one. And to contain something like that, I'd have to go beyond science. I'd need to understand evil as energy and learn to break it at the root. I realized that Michael Myers isn't a physical anomaly. He's a manifestation, a channel where something older and darker projects itself into the physical world. If I wanted to defeat him, facing him head-on wouldn't be enough. I'd have to exorcise him in a scientific way. I started by analyzing the electromagnetic energy generated in Haddonfield on the days of the attacks. There are spikes, fluctuation patterns, something that resembles paranormal interference. This energy seems to react to his presence, as if the environment itself warps to keep him alive. So I developed the morphic frequency resonator, a device capable of identifying and isolating energetic vibrations associated with pure evil. Everything vibrates. Even hatred has a signature. If I can pinpoint the exact frequency that sustains Myers, I can shatter it and disconnect the entity controlling him. Technology alone, however, wouldn't be enough. Myers' essence operates on a level that borders the metaphysical. That's why I consulted the files from my time in Nanda Parbat and analyzed the grimoire I recovered. Its text spoke of rituals for nullifying the anemic echo. I took the diagrams and translations to Zatanna. She confirmed, the ritual doesn't destroy the entity, but breaks its connection to the host by generating an opposing spiritual resonance. The concept was mystical, but the principle was applicable. If evil has a frequency, I could engineer the anti-frequency. An exorcism, yes, but a scientific one. To stop something like Michael Myers, it's not enough to build a trap, you have to design a containment ecosystem. A space where every molecule works against the enemy. I called the project Operation Silver Veil. The first phase begins with creating a neutral zone, completely isolated from Earth's electromagnetic field. An underground lab shielded with lead and titanium plating, covered in laser-etched runes, sealing symbols translated from the grimoire, a blend of science and magic. Logic and superstition united for one purpose, to contain the impossible. At the center of this structure, I installed the morphic frequency resonator, the core. It emits inaudible sound waves that reverberate at the frequency opposite to the energy sustaining Myers. The idea is simple. If he's fueled by a malignant vibration, then I'll make it collapse in on itself. And as always, there's a contingency for the contingency. If the resonator fails to fragment his essence, the final protocol would activate, a localized quantum field collapse, trapping him not in suspension, but in a 1-second time loop, forcing his consciousness to relive the same instant forever. A drastic solution, but necessary. Around the resonator, a ring of autonomous drones equipped with non-lethal weapons, thermal sensors, and anesthetic nanomist. The plan is to lure Myers to the center of the structure, let him believe he's hunting, when in reality he's being herded. No escape, no chance. Luring Michael Myers into the Silver Veil requires more than technology. It demands patience and a clinical understanding of what drives him. He doesn't chase victims out of anger or pleasure, he pursues a pattern, an echo. So I created the perfect echo. I used the Black Oracle to compile every sound, scent, and shadow from Haddonfield. Then, I synthesized those memories in layers. Holographic projections that recreate facades, olfactory devices that release specific aromas, and directional speakers that play back familiar footsteps and whispers. The fake city isn't just visual, it's sensory. Every street is programmed to reinforce the illusion. But Michael isn't an ordinary animal. He tests reality with small rituals, locked doors, broken windows, the silence between clocks. For that, I inserted behavioral hooks, strategically placed familiar objects, a lamp that flickers in the exact pattern that preceded his previous attacks, a doll lying exactly where his oldest memories converge. He follows patterns. I use them as chains. Meanwhile, thief drones map his responses in real time. The Black Oracle calculates deviations and reconfigures the holographic city's route in seconds. If he hesitates, the replica shifts. New shadows emerge. Doors that were open before now close. Sounds that came from the right now come from the left. Confusion is the most powerful tool. A predator that doesn't recognize its territory becomes vulnerable. And finally, the entry sequence. Corridors that subtly narrow, directing his march. Floors that vibrate lightly to sync his steps with the resonator's timings. Everything leads to one point, the core of the Silver Veil. No obvious traps, just the feeling of returning home. That feeling is the bait. And when he crosses the threshold, the world around him will start to crumble. When Michael Myers crosses the threshold of the Silver Veil, his world starts to unravel. The resonator's core activates its initial pulse, inaudible sound waves, vibrating at the inverse frequency to the energy sustaining him. It's subtle at first, almost imperceptible, a tremor in perception, a chill down the spine. He doesn't understand, but he feels something wrong. Meanwhile, the drones adjust the environment in real time. Corridors stretch and shorten slightly. Shadows multiply. Reflections appear where they shouldn't. The floor vibrates in calculated patterns to sync his march with the resonator's pulse. Every step he takes increases the instability of his own essence. Michael doesn't hesitate, but every action is predictable. He reacts instinctively to the environment's stimuli, following the patterns I've learned to anticipate. The confusion is amplified by holographic projections of multiple Myers, as if he's surrounded by echoes of himself. He attacks shadows, passes through illusory walls, but doesn't realize the real trap is invisible. His own energy is being drained and fragmented. The resonator works in layers. The first just distorts perception. The second starts creating microfissures in the energy, keeping him alive. And the third sinks those fissures with the seals etched around the core. Each fissure is a vulnerable point, a fragment of his essence that can be isolated. At this moment, Myers is no longer just physical. He's an unstable projection of pure hatred, and I have control over the space he believes he dominates. He still walks, still attacks, but every attempt at resistance is calculated. Every movement an opportunity to deepen his containment. He's walking into his own nightmare, and I'm the architect of every shadow that imprisons him. With each wave from the resonator, the fissures in his essence become visible only to me, in the Black Oracle's analysis. He still moves, still tries to strike, but the reality around him doesn't match his actions. Every act of violence he attempts falls out of sync, as if he's trapped between dimensions. It's at this moment that I activate the secondary seals. Runes etched around the core sync with the quantum pulse, creating a partial containment field. Michael Myers is still physical, but his essence starts to dilute. He's reduced to fragments of consciousness that can no longer reassemble. To reinforce the effect, I disperse a mist made of monitoring nanoagents. They don't harm, but they alter his perception of space, heightening the confusion and limiting reflexes. Every move he makes, every misstep, is an opportunity to strengthen the net, imprisoning the energy that sustains him. The goal isn't to kill him, or even physically harm him. It's to fragment what makes him invincible, making him vulnerable to definitive containment. When the fragmentation reaches its peak, Myers is ready to be transferred to quantum containment. It's not an ordinary cell, it's a structure that interacts directly with his essence's frequency, sealing each fragment in a state of perpetual suspension. Every seal, every energy field, every quantum pulse was calibrated to neutralize any attempt at reassembly. Here, science and mysticism meet. Ancient artifacts integrated into the structure convert residual hatred energy into a shielding field, ensuring no physical or spectral attack can penetrate. The Silver Veil collapses around him, and the drones seal the core, converting every remnant of movement into data that feeds the Black Oracle for constant monitoring. Michael Myers isn't destroyed. He's contained, sealed inside a prison that transcends time and space. Every fragment of his essence is now bound to the containment structure, unable to reassemble or escape. The question is no longer whether he can be stopped. It's whether anyone could comprehend what we've created to contain absolute evil. When it's all over, I stand alone before the quantum cell. Michael Myers is contained, but not defeated. His essence hasn't vanished. It's just been reorganized, divided, and sealed. The silence is absolute, but it carries the weight of all the violence he spread. There's no relief, no satisfaction, just understanding. There are evils that exist beyond human comprehension, and to contain them, you have to go beyond what we call reality. As I watch the data on the Black Oracle, I realize this isn't the end. Every fragment of Myers is a reminder that evil persists in forms we can't measure. Technology was essential, scientific analysis indispensable, but it was patience, strategy, and understanding what he represents that ensured he was contained. I've learned that we can't underestimate something that transcends logic, something that defies even what we consider impossible. Every trap, every calculation, every mystic seal was designed with precision to maintain order where none seemed possible. And yet, there's an unease, a pulse of energy indicating he exists somewhere, in some fragment, waiting. Maybe there's no perfect way to eradicate absolute evil, but there is a way to face it and contain it. That's the line separating those who merely survive from those who can protect the innocent. Michael Myers is contained, but the work never ends. There's always vigilance, always preparation. Because evil doesn't rest, and neither can I. I archived the report. Status: incomplete. Containment: active. Vigilance: permanent. Michael Myers is a force that defies understanding, and any simplistic approach would be useless. What I've done here isn't just capture him, it's create a structure where he can no longer interfere with the world of the living. The question the Black Oracle can't answer remains: what happens when you imprison a force of nature? We don't destroy it, we just take it out of sight, and I need to know what else to prepare for.
Oh, yes, what else to prepare for, yes. Jolly good show. Jolly good. Well, that's enough for right now. I will see y'all in the next one. And like, subscribe, comment. If you're gonna hate, hate. Haters be that motivator, you feel me? Big Slapper J, out.